We had a press conference yesterday at 1. The information we learned wasn't groundbreaking, but it was definitely some new details that the prosecutor, William Archer, wanted to clarify because we've discussed this. There's been so much misinformation online from true crime podcasters. I mean, try to get your information from reliable journalists, I guess.
Right. And it did clear up some things because there were a lot of questions that, going into yesterday that we didn't have the answers to. And, there's still some that we don't know about. But
let's start with Gary Siders Sr., the grandfather in all of this. He's the one on the bottom right. We learned from the prosecutor in Vinton County that he got injured at some point.
He fell in transit to their preliminary hearing.
Right. And when that happened, he needed medical care. So he's been released on a recognizant bond. Yeah. And he's getting medical treatment because basically if he received that medical treatment in jail, the prosecutor said the county would have been bankrupt.
Right. He
needs serious medical care.
Yeah. So in the state of Ohio and most places, that if you are in county custody while you're receiving medical care, the hospital bills the county. And, Vinton County, as we've talked about, is about 13,000 people, maybe a few hundred less than that. But Vinton County is 7th in terms of lowest income in the state. So there's not a lot of tax base. And yeah, he said if we would continue, because we don't know exactly Gary Siders Sr.'s medical affliction, but basically, we knew that after the fall, he was taken to O'Bleness Hospital, which is the Ohio Health facility there in Athens. And it was determined that he needed some level of care that was, one, not available at O'Bleness and at a larger hospital out of the region. So we don't know if that is one of the Ohio Health facilities here in Columbus or if he had to be taken to some even larger medical facility. But whatever it is, it's going to cost significantly more. Now, now that he's out on this recognizance bond, which is basically your promise to come back to court.
Right. And if he does get released, he would have to have an ankle monitor on.
Right.
But also his competence is being evaluated right now to see if he's
now that he's out, basically his medical bills fall on the state. It's now a Medicaid, Medicare issue there. So there's that. We also know that Elizabeth's attorney, who is the presumed mother of all of these children, the younger one, she's 33. We do know that her attorney is attempting to also file a bond, a change of bond, getting her out on a similar thing, because she says, Elizabeth is telling her attorney that the prime goal for her is to get back to her children, but she also recognizes that that is impossible if she does not go through this court system right now.
And then the other thing is if more charges are going to be brought forward. We don't know because in Vinton County they only meet as a grand jury once
every other month.
Every other month.
Yeah.
So there might be more charges. There may not. I mean, this is a very small county dealing with a lot right now, a lot of expenses as well.
And the prosecutor said that, it's still under investigation. So he, we could, we've talked about this. We could expect more to come in. But obviously we've got that grand jury. And he said that's probably going to be a couple weeks at least.
Yeah. The other news that we learned was about the conjoined twins that Elizabeth gave birth to in 2022 at Riverside that then passed away an hour after being born from complications. I mean, she was 4 months pregnant at the time when they were born, so it was
severely premature.
Very premature. But we just keep learning more little details about that.
Right. And Carla Rogner really dug into these new documents that we obtained yesterday from Franklin County Public Health. And then it kind of outlines this gives us a little bit more background into that family and maybe some of what care and stuff they were receiving. So this is what Carla was able to find for us.
These are birth certificates we obtained from Columbus Public Health for Faith and Bailey Siders, born at Riverside in November 2022. The twins were born to Elizabeth and Gary Jr. and died just 1 hour after birth. Their death certificates say they were born premature at just 24 weeks and were conjoined at the chest. The attorney for Elizabeth Siders says she is the mother of all 16 children removed from the home. This would bring the total number of known children to 18, including a fourth set of twins born between 2022 and 2025, according to the judge. Today, I asked the prosecutor what kind of records there are for the kids. Take a listen.
Did the children have birth certificates?
I don't know that we have all of their birth certificates. Let me answer that.
Were they all registered with the state?
Again, little bit beyond what I can I answered you what I know.
So that, only partially answers a question.
Are they all her children?
Well,
we don't know as of right now.
The question is, where were they born?
Where were they born?
I think also, because Carla asked there of was there a record of the state of these children?
Right.
Because, the ones who have birth certificates, absolutely. But
we also asked about DNA testing as well, which they didn't answer.
Right.
So.
And a lot of that is still, it's still very early stages. And we do know in this case, William Archer, Vinton County prosecutor, at this point has accepted the assistance from the Attorney General's office. So we will see 2 special prosecutors be brought into this case now. We do know. Assistant Attorney General Kara Kading will assist as an assistant prosecutor. We'll also see Annika Collins, who is the Highland County prosecuting attorney, step in. Now, it's important to note because as I've mentioned, Vinton County is the 7th lowest income. There's not a lot of money in Vinton County to pay these people, and William Archer made it very clear that bringing in these 2 special prosecutors, this is not going to cost Vinton County extra money. They are either doing this on their own time or being paid through by either the state or the county, because we've talked about special prosecution, especially when it comes down to the Jason Meade case. We've talked about how much bringing in these special prosecutors from Montgomery County have cost Franklin County. That's not the case in Vinton County right now. We also did learn, because one of the big questions I had going into this too is okay, you knew there were 16 children, 4 adults all living here. We didn't know anything about a work record. He wasn't able to answer that yesterday. So, my question was, okay, were they receiving government assistance, welfare, whatever you choose to call it?
We learned that
only Gary Siders Sr. and Christina Siders, so the 2 older ones, they were the only 2 that were receiving benefits at the time of the arrest.
And we know they were paying rent.
We knew that they were paying rent. This was a rental situation, so this wasn't any sort of squatting situation, which has been alluded to as well. So there's still some stuff that are coming, still some stuff that's coming out as of this. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. Now, as we talk, the state of Ohio, the Department of Youth Services, DYS, is working on getting $1 million grant sent down to Vinton County because it was described that Vinton County now, with all of a sudden having 16 children thrust into their custody, is putting an immense strain on resources, calling it a child welfare crisis. Because not only did this put a lot of kids into their hands, it more than doubled the number of children that Vinton County is basically charged with taking care of. So it takes a lot of money that they now have to pay foster parents. So there is the process right now, this $1 million grant coming from the state just to stabilize that situation there. Mm-hmm. Obviously something that it's going to be slow going. We expect this to slow down because once we get kind of this initial process out of the way with these kind of court hearings, new information is going to slow down. I would probably expect in the next week and a half that we kind of stop getting updates outside of the here and there court appearances. We don't know if any of the other attorneys, we do know that Gary Sr.'s attorney is filing a motion regarding competency, is asking for some sort of mental evaluation because you played a little clip of it there, their first appearance in court. There was some questions about his facilities in terms of being able to understand what was going on. And we do know that he has obviously now some medical conditions that are of a pretty severe nature, severe enough that have released him out of custody and to a hospital that's outside of Southeast Ohio. We don't know if any of the other attorneys are planning to file a motion of incompetency or something at this time. We also did ask the prosecutor, William Archer, about some claims that Elizabeth Siders is a victim Carla Rogner asked him this, that, she mentioned that, she said Elizabeth Siders' attorney is claiming that she is maybe a victim in this case. William Archer said, kind of walked that back and said her attorney is not taking it from the angle that she was a victim in this case. So I would fully expect them to continue to go through the process as the legal system requires. And we go through the whole fact-finding mission of what was her role in this. We've also got to figure out what was Gary Jr.'s role in this, as we've kind of gone through the marriage documents. Obviously married at 15 and 18 in 2008, March 31st, 2008. The first child, the 18-year-old, was born 2 months after that. A lot of stuff going to come out. It's going to be slow. We don't expect this to probably get to trial. William Archer mentioned this, probably won't go to trial until 2028. We are a long way out of this. So stay with us. We'll continue to break it down. We'll also be working on a special here on the 10 TV streaming app to kind of break down what we all know right now, what we can expect moving forward, and how unfortunately unique this case is to the state of Ohio, not just Vinton County, but really the entire state, and the kind of resources this is bringing in. That'll be